So what I did here is I created two separate parts. You can see that that's the boss, the main one, and then there's a second one here. So this is really a multi-body part. You can see at the top here, it says the name of the file. It's an SLD PRT file. I just want to see if I've got those two. Yeah. All right. So this is the lid, which I created separately. And really all it is a boss with end fillets and then a top fillet shelled. Then I've created a plane, which is 0.3 millimeters above this plane here. And then I've just put this little landing in. So that's fairly simple. I think you guys understand that. I mean, that's just a sketch which I've extruded downwards. So what I've tried to do here is I've tried to make this landing 1.4. Now let's leave it like this for now. I've tried to make this landing the only bit that gets bent, not the other bit. And it seems to work better than the other way that I showed earlier. So let's just go back across to the not an assembly. It's actually just a single body part. So when I brought this in, let me just backtrack a little bit. When I brought this in, this, of course, the move body part is always a little bit tricky. Do you want me to go through it again, Sipo?
Sorry, Phil, I think you're done.
Huh?
You must go through what?
The move body. Okay, so what let me just go through it again. So what I'm doing here is I'm creating a single body part. I mean a multi-body part. So it's not an assembly, all right? And I'm doing that in order that I can get this flex command to work. That's all I'm doing. So I just want to know before I show you exactly how to do the flex bit, do you want me to know how to bring in the body move? Because that's sometimes a bit tricky as well.
I think it's necessary for you to do it because
I know
what I'm come across later on in the project.
Okay, so I'm going to see if I can bring them in. Yes. Okay, so here's my basic part. What I've done on this one is I've also created a little landing. Also, it's 0.3 down. It's 0.2 millimeters, I think, from that edge. Yeah, 0.2. Okay, so that's just to give some sort of starting point for that hinge to go around. Okay, so it's the basic part. So then I go insert and I say part and I go and select the other part which I've created. And you'll see straight away it wants to put it in. If I click on this button here, it'll put it in where I don't want it to be. So before I do that, I go to locate part. Oh yes, that's right. Don't click on that button. Just click outside. So now it's located, but it's not in the right place. So in order to move that, I just go to the move copy bodies command, and I select the one that I want to move. And then I don't know if you remember from the last time I showed you this, that you can either do a translate, rotate thing where you actually pull things around. So you can basically get it into position like this. Might help. I don't know. I find that difficult. I just go straight to constraints. And then just to remember when you do this, use this command to keep using the add command. So I'm going to go coincident and I want this edge, just that edge, that's of that little lip, to match up with that little edge that I've got. Where is it? There it is there. Okay, so the top of that edge there. All right, so now don't click OK, because if you say OK, then we have to start again. So once I've got that OK, I say add if it's in the right position. So let me just see it's sitting flat. That's right. Remember, you can change the alignment. So actually that's better because it's facing the other way. So I flipped alignment. Okay, so before I do anything, I'm going to go back to add. And then I want that face there, and this face here to be parallel, or they might be coincident. Let's see what it's doing. Yeah, that coincidence okay. So once I've got that okay, I say add, and then I just need to get one more relationship. So this isn't anywhere near as good as using mates in assembly. So you don't have things like what do you call it? Equal command. You have to use coincident. So this is all now lined up. Once I'm happy with that, I say okay. Right. So this is really almost one body. I think it is one. No, it's two bodies here. So it is two bodies. Oh, that's right. I tried to do a combined body first, and it didn't seem to work. You seem to have to need to use it afterwards. So I've got a little bit of a problem in that. No, they seem to be matching. So they need to match up exactly. Once they've matched up exactly, I'm going to use this flex command. Type in flex. All right. And Gabriel, you missed it, so I'll quickly go through this again. What the flex command does is it allows you to do all sorts of things. So bending, twisting, tapering, stretching, we're only going to use bending. If you select a body, like this could be one whole body, but at the moment we've got two separate bodies. If you select a body, it'll give you these two planes, a green one and a red one, and then I always like to call it gumball, but it's, what is it called again? Something with a try. Anyways, those allow you to shape this thing. So if I move these like this, you see I can bend this thing. So it's a great tool for doing other kinds of things. You can twist, so you can get the twist. You can do it by hand, see what you're doing. Any of these things, I'm not going to go through them. But if it's not done what you want to do, just go to this little command here, the angle one, and just type in 0, just 0 it, and it'll go back to 0 so that you can see if you want to start again. Okay, so at the moment, these two planes are in the wrong axis. I need to change them. So those three are at the bottom here, under the triad. That's the name of this thing here. So this triad can move left to right, front to back, top to bottom, and I can actually get those there to now rotate as well. So I can go like this, and if I get 90 degrees, it's sort of there. But if it's not going to exactly where I want, it's much easier to control by just typing those figures in here. So on the left hand side, it's 270 and 270. I'm just rounding these off. So everything's lined up now. All right, so what we have to watch out for is that, one, these planes line up with what we want to actually get to bend, and two, that this central triad denotes where the bend kind of axis starts. So at the moment, you can see that if I move this over here, then that's where the axis will be. So I need to get that to be in the middle of those two pieces there. And for that, I kind of need to know dimensions. So I need to know that this is 80 plus 0.2 plus 1.2. So I need to do a calculation. So you can see it's put here at minus 41. So it's minus 41.2, I think, something like that. It's probably not right. And I'm just showing you this so that you can see the easiest way to do this. It's actually to type these figures in. Otherwise, it gets very, very difficult. That's roughly where I want it to be. I can go and calculate it by hand. I mean, actually go measure things and calculate it. 3.17 millimeters. That means it's 3.17 millimeters down from that plane there, that top plane. So if I type in 0 on the left-hand side, you'll see it'll be level with the plane. That's not actually what we're going to want, but to show you how to do it. So it's going to have to be about 2 or something. I can't remember. And then this Z one, that's just from left to right. So you don't need to worry about that one too much. Like that's just moving it left to right. That's not going to affect it too much. Oh, that's Y. So that's the one we don't need to worry about. This is the one that we should worry about. Is that right? Something like that, yes. -2. So this might seem a bit tedious, but this is the way you control it. This triad is definitely the way to do it. And then the next most important thing is to make sure that these two planes line up. Because at the moment, if I put in an angle here, it's going to bend it from between those two planes. So I don't want that. I want 0 degrees. So I've chosen this little button at the top here, this hard edges one. What that does is that wherever you've decided to place the planes, it'll only move whatever's between those two planes. So the way to do this is, trim plane 1 is the green one. There's this little button here, select a reference. All you do is you go and select a point, and there you see it's placed the green plane at that point, at that reference point, and the red plane is on the 0 point already. So I can go and put that in. I can click on this one here, put it in. Okay. And there's a neat little trick to this. Once it's in place, if I want that one to move inboard, all I do is delete the vertex and then type in where I want this to be. So 0.2, you can see that's moved it 0.2 millimeters inboard. And if I say -0.2, it'll move it outboard. So let's just go with, say, 0.3 or something. So now what it'll do is it'll only bend whatever's between these two planes. Everything else it'll leave alone. So let's see if I type in 180 degrees, because that's what I want. So you can see it's done it, but it's put it in a weird position. And the weird position is really got to do with the Y or the Z. And this is where you have to play a little bit just to see what that does. So it's not the Y, Z. Doesn't seem to be either of those. So I'm just going to click and see if this will do it. It shouldn't, because it's interfering. And it might have to do with this where I've put this second plane. So what I find with this command is it's a little bit fussy. You've got to reset it every time it doesn't do what you want it to do, and then go again just to see what it'll do. So I've got everything at 0 here, and I'm pretty sure it should be the Y one, but I can't remember if it is or Y. So I'm just going to play with that and go back to this 180 degrees. Right, so you see it's kind of cumbersome. It's -180, that might do it. There we go. Okay, now it's going to do it. So if I say yes now, it doesn't like it. It's got something to do with one of these commands. Right, I did get it to work a few times, and I still haven't figured out what makes it work and what doesn't when it comes to exactly, with these commands. Might be this one. Yeah. Just 0 it again. Start again. It's -180. And okay, I think that's about as much as I'm going to be able to show you without just like wasting time playing with this. Because you can see I'm not getting the joy that I had earlier that I thought I had. So hopefully that gives you just an introduction into how to start playing with this. Does that help? There we go. Okay. Okay, so notice there what I did. I happened to latch on to close to the right figure. There we go. That's going to do it. See, as long as there's a gap between these two, it'll do it. And how to close that gap is the next trick, which I'll figure out at some stage somewhere along the line. It doesn't like it. Okay, so I might be playing on forever. And then, yes, so that's how you do it. So I'm going to just quickly show you that I did get it right by suppressing these two, unsuppressing my previous attempt, and it's that one there. Ah, there we go. Okay, so that's as good as I got. It doesn't match perfectly. You can see that there's a mismatch between that plane and that plane, and that these two haven't joined up nicely. But there is a fair bit more control the way I've shown you here with the multi-body part and adding that piece in. Sorry, I couldn't do better than that. It seems to be quite a fussy little command, this. Fussy but powerful. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that, unless you have more questions or other things you want to talk about.
For now, I don't have any questions, but I'll definitely come with questions probably after I'm done with my part.
That's John, eh?
People.
Oh, super. Okay. I really would suggest not doing it this way, just because it looks like until you really know what you're doing, it's a huge waste of time. I would just go with that simple one which I showed you earlier.
Yeah.
So it's an assembly. So it's an assembly with just two parts that are mated. Remember, I just used configurations to show it in the closed to the open position, which you can then bring those configuration files into your drawing file, so you can show them in an open and a closed position as well.